Hello there guys and welcome to day 2 of the Paul Ricard pre-season test here at France. I am JWF1 and well, after a delay that happened yesterday due to my internet packing up, it has thankfully come back on and we are able to continue. The remaining 3 days of course coming from Sunday, Monday and Tuesday now, but still, the action still remains here and we're here for day 2 here at the Paul Ricard circuit. If you didn't see what happened on Friday now, which was the first test, Daniel Ricciardo topped that session, and a surprising Joseph Newgarden in the Mars Grand Prix car, and Lewis Hamilton third in the Etihad, of course. A lot of big names outside the top 10, but a lot of it could be down to just mileage, or just, you know, not pushing hard, or maybe just waiting for upgrades. Who knows, really? But we get set for day 2, so I think first of all we'll have a look at the drivers then for day 2 here at Paul Ricard. So let's go through them then. So here are the drivers. So today for Etihad Racing you'll be seeing Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. For Bud Light Line Motorsport you'll be seeing Romain Grosjean and Felix Rosenqvist. Rosenqvist was meant to drive yesterday but I accidentally put Giovinazzi in the car, so Rosenqvist will be driving today just to make up for that. Eldorado have Sergio Perez and Oliver Rowland. EMR have Sebastian Vettel and Nico Hulkenberg. Suomi have Kevin Magnussen and Aero Vanio I should say. Not Airy, it's Aero-Vanio. GRM have Daniel Ricciardo and Jean-Eric Verne. Monster have Brendan Hartley and Jake Dennis. AMP have Pascal Wehrlein and Mick Schumacher. For Martini we have Lando Norris and Nick de Vries. At Shadow we have Sam Bird and Will Palmer. And at Mars Grand Prix we have Ed Jones and Sacha Fenestraz. So they are the drivers then that will be taking part in today's pre-season test. So I've rambled on for a little bit. Without further ado then, let's get to day 2 of the pre-season test here at Paul Ricard. So here we are then, back in the pit lane then for day 2. We're going to go to the end of the pit lane with Jake Dennis, so we will wait and get this session underway. And our session as per usual, timing graphics again for pre-season testing as we get set for day 2 here. Will Daniel Ricciardo top this session or will somebody else? Who knows really, but a lot of people noticed in Friday's session it was pretty close between the rest of the pack. Whether that will remain today will remain to be seen, because most of the guys that were there on Friday aren't here today. But anyway, first man out on track then is Pascal Wehrlein. In fact, it was an AMP the other day that was the first out on track on Friday, but it is Wehrlein that's out on track first, along with the Martini of Lando Norris. Lando Norris out on track for Martini, and so Lando Norris of course going to be in GP2 with Light Base Sony Racing, I believe, and looking to try and mount a title charge after winning the last race of last season's GP2 championship. But he is a Martini test driver, and so he's hoping to try and put on an impression if he can. Daniel Ricciardo out on track now then for GRM, the man that topped Friday's session, along with Aero-Vanio. He's out on track for Suomi. Also on track we have Jake Dennis in the Monster car. Fernando Alonso out on track in the Etihad, as is Ed Jones in the Mars Grand Prix car. We also have Felix Rosenqvist out on track for Bud Light Line Motorsport, the Season 3 IFMC GP3 champion, making the step to GP2 this season with Red Bull Academy, partnering alongside George Russell. Mick Schumacher out on track for AMP, back in an AMP car. Obviously, he's not a main driver now. He's driving in GP2, given a second chance with Academy after AMP loaned him out to Academy. And but Mick Schumacher out on track then for AMP. Nico Hulkenberg is out as well in the EMR. Sam Bird out on track as well, as is Oliver Rowland, driving the Eldorado today, not the team they will be driving for this season, which will be Monster. Speaking of the Monster, here is his Season 4 teammate Brendan Hartley, who's out on track. Sergio Perez out on track for Eldorado, and that's all the guys that are out on track thus far. So here is Pascal Wehrlein now then, starting his lap. He'll be the one setting the benchmarker for today's session, as he now sprints down towards the flat out turn 1 and 2 on the track. And let's see what Pascal can achieve now then, as he goes up towards turns number 3 and 4 now then. And Wehrlein trying to get a very good lap in first of all. And it is the first lap, of course. And of course, usually with it being first laps, of course, you do expect a lot of guys to be held up on their laps, so maybe not all the best times can come out of this first lap, but we'll wait and see what the early pace is like at the moment as the track starts rubbering later down in the session, as Pascal Wehrlein now then heads down towards the flat-out right-hander just after this long straight here at Paul Ricard. Sadly, he hasn't got the bust-up chicane, this mod has, but still, doesn't spoil the entertainment really, as Wehrlein now then goes flat-out through the right-hander using as much of the curve as possible, doing a 56.696 in that sector then, as he now just goes around the right-hander now then, using as much of the curve as possible, as he's now in the third sector, and nearing towards the end of his first flying lap, as Lando Norris behind also setting a lap as well. Wehrlein now then up towards the last two corners then on the track, and let's see what Pascal can manage around the final corner and onto the pit straight we go. What is the benchmark time going to be from Pascal Wehrlein, as he's now going to cross the line, and it is a 1:31.914, but Norris beats him by 1/10 of a second, so Norris goes to the top of the timing sheets. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo. Can he top the session? Yes, he can, by 1/10 of a second, just like he did on Friday. Ricciardo goes to the top. What about Aerovenio? He crosses the line, goes to 4th in the Suomi. Here is Jake Dennis in the Monster. What can he manage? Across the line he goes, and he slots into 4th in front of Venio. Here is Fernando Alonso in the Etihad. What can the Spaniard manage as he's now going to cross the line? And he goes fastest. Alonso goes fastest by 900 of a second. As Alonso goes to the top, it's 6th quickest then for Ed Jones, 6th for Felix Rosenqvist. Let's have a look then at what Mick Schumacher can manage then. The defending champion goes to the top. It's 5th for Mick Schumacher. Nico Hülkenberg crosses the line, and he goes to 3rd with that lap. 3rd for Nico Hülkenberg. With that lap then, here is Sam Bird, and EMR obviously struggled on Friday, but it seems that Nico's turned a corner so far in this session. Sam Bird slots into 9th with that time. Here comes Ollie Rowland then in the Eldorado, and he slots to 10th. Brendan Hartley, 11th in the Monster. Sergio Perez crosses the line, only 14th for the Mexican then. So, that's that really, and is anybody else doing a second lap? It doesn't appear like it, so at the moment it is currently defending champion Fernando Alonso at the top by nearly a 10th ahead of fellow Etihad employee Daniel Ricciardo, the man that's actually going to be replacing him next season. Ricciardo currently in 2nd, Hülkenberg in 3rd, with Norris 4th, Wehrlein in 5th, and then it is Schumacher in 6th, Dennis 7th, Rosenqvist in 8th, Bird in 9th, Rowland 10th, Hartley 11th, with Jones 12th, Venier 13th, and Perez in 14th position. But at the moment, the defending champion, as mentioned, at the top of the timing sheets, and seeming to find some pace after looking like he was just doing a bit of mileage runs yesterday after only finishing 12th fastest on Friday. And his teammate Lewis Hamilton managed to get 3rd in that session. But Alonso now at the top. But we'll have to wait and see what the other 8 drivers can do later on, and whether the track will start to rubber in and improve. But we'll wait and see. Alonso setting the benchmark of a 1:31.522. Perez 1 second down. Don't know if he got held up by traffic. It did look like that both Eldorados were kind of stuck in traffic a little bit. But maybe Perez will show some more pace. Who knows, really, unless he's doing something similar to what Bottas did yesterday, probably preserving a little bit. But who knows, really, as Jones comes back into the pits, as we wait for some more guys to come back into the pits. Well, in fact, we've got some track action now from the form of Romain Grosjean, who had a spin on Friday, thanks to making contact with, trying to remember, I think it was a monster car he actually made contact with. I can't quite remember which one it was. But there was contact made, and was it Monster or Martini? I can't remember. I think it had blue on the car anyway. But Grosjean out on track then for Bud Light Line Motorsport. He finished 3rd in the championship last season, with Bud Light Line taking their best season to date by finishing 2nd in the Constructors last season. On Friday, Grosjean and Giovinazzi finished 9th and 10th respectively. Whether they're hiding some pace, we don't know. But Grosjean now then out on track for the Irish-based team with American backing. And Romain Grosjean just going down the longest straight on the track. Lewis Hamilton now then out on track for Etihad. So Lewis Hamilton now out on the track, as is Kevin Magnussen for Suomi, making his full return now to IFMC. Obviously, he came towards the back end of last season with Suomi to replace the underperforming Antonio Felix da Costa. But now he's making his full-time return after last time he was in a full seat with Monster before getting booted out towards the end by Robin Frins. But Kevin Magnussen now then out on track for Suomi. Out on track is Sacha Fenestraz, who will be making his debut in GP2, I believe, or GP3, one of the two. I believe it's GP2, actually. He's making his debut with the new Lopez Racing Development Team, now that I think of it, partnering alongside Joel Eriksson. Jake Dennis out on track for Monster Grand Prix. Nick de Vries is out on track, as is Jean-Eric Verne. Nico Hulkenberg back out, as is Felix Rosenqvist. Sam Bird, Sebastian Vettel out on track, as is Will Palmer in the shadow, the younger brother of Jolyon Palmer. And he seemed to be doing quite well recently in the lower categories. A lot of people saying that he's a better driver than what Jolyon is, and I can in a way agree with that. Whether it's the same here in IFMC, of course, we'll have to wait and see, of course. But Will obviously doesn't have a drive. But as you can see, Grosjean 500s up in the first sector, so Grosjean setting some good pace in the first sector in the Bud Light Line Motorsport car, as he now goes up towards the flat-out right-hander. And let's see what Roman can manage then. He'll now go up towards the right-hander. Let's see if he's able to maintain that pace in towards that second sector. Flat out he goes. Let's see what his second split is like. He's 200 off, but he's dropped a little bit of time in the second sector. Whether he's able to recover that in the last sector, we will see. But it's looking good that Grosjean will be in at least in the top 3, I would think, with this time, unless he loses a lot of time in the last sector, of course. But we will wait and see. Romain Grosjean now then up towards the final 2 corners then, and let's see where the Frenchman will place himself now then around the final corner, and onto the pit straight he will go. And across the line now then goes Romain Grosjean. What's the time going to be? And he goes fastest by 700ths of a second. Grosjean going to the top of the timing sheets now then, as Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso start the laps. Here is Lewis Hamilton in the Etihad. Let's see what he can do, as he now just goes out of the corner now then and up towards the final 2 corners on the track. And let's see what Lewis Hamilton can manage then in the Etihad. Around the final corner he goes, and onto the start straight goes the Brit. Hamilton now then across the line, and what's the time going to be for the Brit? And he goes into 3rd place with that lap, just slots behind Alonso. So it's P3 for Lewis Hamilton. Kevin Magnussen, what can he manage in the Suomi? He goes only 14th with that lap. Here is Sacha Fenestraz in the Mars Grand Prix car. Let's see what he can post now then, and he's now going to cross the line, and Fenestraz slots into 15th, just in front of Jones. Jake Dennis stays where he is in 9th for the moment, so Dennis doing a decent job in this session. Nick de Vries crosses the line, 9th place for the young Dutchman. Jean-Eric Verne slots into 9th. Nico Hulkenberg doesn't improve and stays in 5th. Here is Felix Rosenqvist now then in the Bud Light Line Motorsport car, slots into 11th. Sam Bird, he doesn't improve. Sebastian Vettel goes to 7th with that lap, just being outpaced by Nico Hulkenberg there. Will Palmer crosses the line, and what can Will manage in that car? Only slots for 21st, just in front of Sergio Perez. As meantime now then, we'll look at Lando Norris. Norris currently finding himself in 6th place at the moment in the Martini, as he's now just going around the left-hander now then and up towards the final 2 corners on the track. And let's see what Lando can manage. Is Lando looking at an improvement there in the Ferrari-powered Martini? The team becoming more Italian, you could say, because the team is obviously Italian, despite the team being owned by a Brit and their base being in Britain. As Norris improves, but still remains in 6th place with that lap. Alonso coming back in, it appears. It looked like he didn't improve. No, in fact, he's got a problem. Alonso has a problem. He's got a throttle problem. The defending champion has pulled off with a throttle problem, and he's even gone for a spin as well. You could tell with the tyre smoke there, but Alonso has ran into trouble, and that is a rare sight to see during testing. I don't think we've ever seen an Etihad pull off at the side of the road during pre-season testing, but Alonso has pulled off to the side of the track. Whether he was on for an improvement or not, I don't know, but a throttle problem for Alonso at the final 2 corners, and I wouldn't be surprised if nobody is able to improve if they're on flying laps. I don't think anybody behind him was on flying laps, in fact, and so that's that then really. So Alonso pulling off to the side of the track with a throttle problem, and it looks like he might have to jump into the T car if he wants to continue, and obviously that will be an issue that Etihad will want to investigate if they can. But meantime then, let's have a look at the leaderboard then, with just nearly 12 minutes gone in this 1-hour session. It's Romain Grosjean at the top with Fernando Alonso 2nd, Lewis Hamilton 3rd, Daniel Ricciardo 4th, Nico Hulkenberg in 5th, with Lando Norris in 6th, Sebastian Vettel 7th, Pascal Wehrlein in 8th, with Mick Schumacher 9th, and then it is Jean-Eric Verne in 10th, with Nick de Vries in 11th, Felix Rosenqvist in 12th, Jake Dennis 13th, Sam Bird in 14th, with Oliver Rowland 15th, Brendan Hartley 16th, Kevin Magnussen 17th, Sacha Fenestraz in 18th position, with Ed Jones 19th, Aerovanio in 20th, with Will Palmer 21st and Sergio Perez in 22nd position. Whether Perez got held up on his lap, we don't know. We do expect an improvement from the Mexican, though. As meantime, out on track is the man that topped Friday's session, which was Daniel Ricciardo. So the GRM driver out on track now then, as you can see, as he just goes down the long straight now then and up towards the right-hander. Also on track is Pascal Verlaine in the AMP. Ed Jones now out on track, as is Oliver Rowland in the Eldorado. Romain Grosjean back out onto the track, the man that's currently topping the session. Aerovanio is out on track, as is Sebastian Vettel. So Mick Schumacher now then out on track as well. And lots of other cars coming out on track. And but meantime, Ricciardo preparing to start his next flying lap. In fact, I think it was actually Daniel that was the first man to go out onto the track the other day. I do apologise, it wasn't an AMP. Forget me. You can tell how much I forgot within the last 2 days, mainly because I was stressing out over this internet. But anyway, Ricciardo now then going out of the final corner, as he now starts his next flying lap, as the Martini of, I believe that looks like Nick de Vries has just come out onto the track. And Martini opting to use their test drive, two of their test drivers for today, as Ricciardo goes flat out through turns 1 and 2 on the track now then, as he will now approach the next section of corners now then. Let's see what his first sector is going to curtail now then, as he'll now go up towards the double right hand, as you could say. This one being a long right hander. We ride on board with Daniel Ricciardo then. I think we'll ride on board with him for the remainder of this flying lap now then, as he just goes out the left hander. 1/10 down off Grosjean in the first sector, and looks to not be on an improvement at the moment. Ricciardo currently lying in 4th place at the minute, as we now go up towards the right hander now then. And let's see what Daniel can manage, as he now goes up towards the flat out right hander. Ricciardo pushing as hard as possible. He's gained a lot of time in the second sector though. He's only 600ths down though off Grosjean in the second sector. Whether he's able to keep that up in the remaining sector, we don't know. We said we were running on board with Daniel. I kind of forgot there. As now through the left hander then goes Daniel Ricciardo, using as much of the curb on the right hand side as possible. As now Ricciardo now then up towards the final 2 corners then goes the Honey Badger now then. Ricciardo soon going to be coming across the line through the final corner and onto the start straight. What is Daniel Ricciardo going to manage down on his lap? Is this going to be an improvement? Across the line goes Danny Rick, and he does improve but stays in 4th. He's now only a little bit, he's only 0.167 now behind Romain Grosjean. Verlaine meantime doesn't improve and stays in P number 8. Here's Ed Jones now then in the Mars Grand Prix car, as he now comes up towards the left-hander, the final 2 corners I should say. And let's see what Jones can manage then, as he just goes out of the final corner. And just sorting out a little bit of an audio issue there. But Jones crosses the line and stays in P19, no improvement. Ollie Rowland moves up to 15th, so a slight improvement there for the Brit. Here is Romain Grosjean. Is he on an improvement for his 1 minute 39.445 across the line? And no, he's not. Just nearly a 10th off his best time there. Here comes Aerovanio. Now then, coming across the line in the Suomi, what can he manage? Vanio moves up to 14th, gets in front of Bird. Sebastian Vettel, what can he manage? And he goes up to 6th at that time, so Vettel improves, only to be within 2/10 of Grosjean then. As we now look at Mick Schumacher. And let's see what Mick can manage. Then across the line goes the German, and he goes up to 8th, getting in front of Verlaine there. So up to P8 goes Mick Schumacher. As we now look at Will Palmer now then, just going out of the final corner. Let's see what Will can manage. His brother, Jolyon, will be competing with Willow's Grand Prix in GP2 for his 2nd successive season. Palmer doesn't improve as Hamilton goes to the top. Hamilton goes fastest with a 1 minute 31.428. Hamilton 100s quicker than Grosjean. Palmer same where he is. Perez only up to 19th at that time, so not a good time there for Sergio Perez. As Sacha Fenestraz now then doesn't improve, I don't believe. He stays where he is. Magnussen goes up to 17th. Fenestraz is 20th at this stage. Nick de Vries crosses the line and goes up to 8th at that time. Up to P8 goes Nick de Vries to just be behind teammate Lando Norris. And so let's start then at the present moment. Anybody on a time It doesn't look like it. So at the moment, it is now Lewis Hamilton at the top of the timing sheet, ahead of Romain Grosjean and Fernando Alonso. So that's happening really. I'll go through the leaderboard now then. It's Hamilton now then from... let's try and get near somebody who's not close to the pits so I can read it out. And it will have to come from Nick de Vries. So here it is then. So it's Hamilton at the top with Grosjean second, Alonso third, Ricciardo fourth, Hülkenberg fifth, Vettel in sixth, with Norris 10th, de Vries in 8th, Schumacher 9th, Verline in 10th, Vergne in 11th, with Rosenqvist 12th, Dennis 13th, Vanio 14th, Bird 15th, Rowland 16th, Magnussen 17th, Hartley 18th, Perez 19th, Fenestraz in 20th, Jones 21st, and Palmer in 22nd position. So at the moment, the whole pack is just separated by 1.059 seconds so far. That's all 22 cars that are currently out there that are competing in this session, I should say, not currently out there. As de Vries will be going back into the pits this lap. And as you can see, surely there must be smiles at Martini so far, because so far it has been quite a positive test for them with their new partnership with Ferrari. As de Vries just comes out of the final corner now then, as de Vries goes into the pits. And so into the pits then goes Nick de Vries. And so as you can see, it looks like one of the Eldorados is going back out onto the track. It looks like, is it Sergio Perez? No, it's Oliver Rowland. In fact, Sergio is actually coming out. I just saw his name in the pit lane, but Nico Hülkenberg was the first man out on track. Hülkenberg currently in 5th at the moment, currently outpacing new teammate and fellow compatriot Sebastian Vettel. And Vettel obviously being with the team now for 4 seasons. He's been in it since the beginning. And Nico relatively new. This is obviously Sebastian's 3rd teammate he's had. 2 seasons he's had... actually that's wrong. 4th teammate he's had... 4th teammate now he's had. I had to think there with Rio Haryanto, but Haryanto actually replaced him last season because Vettel had to suffer from a race ban. But this is Vettel's 4th teammate now in IFMC, his first one being Esteban Ocon. And at one point it was Carlos Sainz Jr. during his partnership with Esteban Ocon, because Ocon also suffered from a qualifying ban, from a race ban, in Season 2. And in Season 3, of course, he was partnered with Daniel Kvyat. And now in Season 4, he's partnered with Nico Hülkenberg. And so far, Hülkenberg currently outpacing him in this session. Hülkenberg now is starting his next flying lap, hoping that Perez over there isn't going to hold him up as he just comes out of the pit lane. As Hülkenberg now then goes up towards turns 1 and 2, riding on board with Nico now then. Flat out as he goes now then, as he goes up towards the next section of corners now then on the track. So through the right and left hander we go. Just had to take a swivel there of a drink. But anyway, flat out through the right hander then goes Nico Hülkenberg. And just now going through the left hander, let's see what his first sector is like. And he's 2 tenths down in the first sector is Hülkenberg, as he now goes up towards the right hander. He's right on board with Nico again. And luckily for him in front, I don't think Perez is holding him up in the Eldorado. Hülkenberg is a little bit too far back to chase down Perez at the minute. Perez desperate for an improvement as he's only down in 19th at the moment. Flat out we go then, out the corner, and again 2 tenths down in the second sector is Hülkenberg. So far not looking for an improvement at the moment, but who knows really. So we just go out of the right hander now then up towards the next section of corners, then we go. And let's see what Hülkenberg can manage then on this lap. And Hülkenberg now then going up towards the final 2 corners, then we go. And is Hülkenberg going to possibly pull a miracle? He is getting a little bit closer now to Perez, so Perez might hold him up if he's not careful. Down the pit straight then goes Hülkenberg, across the line he goes, and he does improve in fact, but he stays in 5th place. He's now 0.225 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton as Grosjean starts the lap, trying to see if he can get back to the top. Schumacher will be starting one, as will Ricciardo. Now we look at Felix Rosenqvist, who's currently down in 12th for the minute, in desperate to improve, as now through the final corner he goes. And down the pit straight goes the Swedish driver, and Rosenqvist crosses the line, and he doesn't improve, stays in P12 at the moment. Hartley improves to go up into 13th place, as now we look at Lando Norris. Across the line goes the Brit, and Norris stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 7. Jones starts the lap. Now we look at Ollie Rowland in the Eldorado, just coming out of the final corner. Let's see what Roland can manage. Is going to be an improvement. No, it's not. He stays in 17th at the moment. Here's Fernando Alonso, currently in 3rd at the minute. The defending champion up towards the final corner on the track as he goes down the pit straight now. Then what is Fernando Alonso going to manage on this lap? He doesn't improve and stays in P3 for the minute. As Bird goes up to 15th. Dennis, meantime, stays where he is, which is P14. Pascal Wehrlein crosses the line, stays in 10th. As we now look at Sergio Perez in the Eldorado, as he just goes through the left-hander now then, using as much of the curve as possible. Up towards the final 2 corners then goes Sergio Perez. And let's see what Checo can manage. Through the final corner and onto the start straight goes Sergio, heading down the pit straight, and Checo is going to cross the line, and he improves only up to 14th though, so up to P14 goes Sergio Perez. Romain Grosjean stays in 2nd, no improvement for the Frenchman. What about the young German Mick Schumacher? Schumacher crosses the line and he improves but stays in P9 with that lap. Here is Daniel Ricciardo. What can he do? He's currently in 4th. Is this going to be an improvement for the Aussie? It is. He goes fastest. Ricciardo goes to the top of the timing sheets by 1/10 of a second, doing what he did on Friday. Ricciardo going to the top, getting in front of Lewis Hamilton with that time now then. So here comes Ed Jones just coming out of the final corner, and let's see what Jones can manage. He doesn't improve and stays in P21 at the minute. As we now see if anybody else is doing a lap. It doesn't appear like it, so we'll just wait for some more cars to come out onto the track, as we've had nearly half an hour of this session completed. And so far, Ricciardo atop by 1/10 of a second. Ricciardo with a monstrous time there at that time around, a 1:31.280. Ricciardo showing he is definitely possibly a future world champion, perhaps, with the pace he's showing so far in this testing period. And it looks like GRM might be going back to the form that they had in Season 2, but maybe even quicker than that. Who knows, really? You could possibly see a change at Jerez, or even with these final 2 days, we don't know. Remember, of course, Ricciardo will be driving for Etihad in the final 2 days of this test. Whether he can actually possibly replicate this in the Etihad, of course, which would probably bring a smile to Oliver Glazebrook's face in a way. We'll have to wait and see, but Ricciardo going to a different car tomorrow. So he's also the test driver now for Etihad, and will be making... will be moving to Etihad next season, replacing the outgoing Fernando Alonso, who's moving to IndyCar. So that'll be that. As now Jones just negotiates through this left-hander now then, and up towards the final 2 corners then goes Ed Jones. And let's see what the Emiretti driver is. Well, in fact, he's going into the pits. He's just looking like he's pushing a little bit, like he's doing a lap, probably just trying to see how much pace he can extract during this in lap. As you can see, Verne out on track now then, along with Sacha Fenestraz that's right behind him at the moment, as we go up towards the next few corners on the track, going as flat as possible. And now up towards the right-hander, and Verne preparing to start his lap just outside the top 10 at the moment and off the pace of teammate Daniel Ricciardo, as Verne will be preparing to start his next flying lap. As will Sacha Fenestraz. Aerovania has come out onto the track, as has Nick de Vries in the Martini. Nico Hulkenberg out on track, as is Sebastian Vettel. So both EMRs coming out at the same time. Lewis Hamilton out on track as well, as is Will Palmer in the shadow. Palmer currently occupying the back of the field at the moment. Brendan Hartley out on track now then, as is Felix Rosenqvist in the Bud Light Line Motorsport car. And Kevin Magnussen out on track as well, as he just negotiates through this right-hander. And also on track is Sam Bird in the shadow. Jake Dennis out there as well, as is Jean-Eric Verne in the GRM. And just going around these corners then goes Jev, as he just negotiates through that right-hander. And Jev currently on the lap, riding on board with the Frenchman, going out the corner now then, and he's 1/10 down in the first sector. So Verne looking to be on an improvement, as he's currently 6/10 off his teammate so far in this session, being down 11. So Verne looking to get himself into the top 10 in this session if he can, providing that the car in front, which I believe is Jake Dennis, doesn't hold him up. Riding on board again with Verne, as he'll now go flat out through the right-hander. Let's see what the second sector is like. 2 tenths down in the second sector, so he looks like he is on for an improvement. Where he'll slot, though, I don't know. I would probably think maybe around about 6th or 7th, looking like this time. But let's see then. So Vern through the left-hander, he could do even better than that. I don't know. But Vern now then up towards the final 2 corners then. And let's see what Jev can manage. Around we go then, up towards the final corner then goes Jean-Eric Vern. As he heads down the pit straight now then, Vern is going to cross the line. And let's see what the Frenchman can manage. And he does improve, but he stays in 11th. So he seems to have lost a heap of time in that last sector. Sacha Fenestraz improves, but stays in 20th place. Here is Aero Vanio. And let's see what Aero can manage then as he crosses the line and he stays where he is, which is 17th. Nick de Vries now then up towards the final corner. There we go. And let's see what the Dutchman can manage. De Vries is going to cross the line and he goes up to 7th, getting in front of Norris there. So up to 7th place goes Nick de Vries. As now we look at Nico Hulkenberg now then up towards the final 2 corners he goes. Currently lying in 5th at the moment. Hulkenberg through the final corner and onto the start straight we go. Hulkenberg is going to cross the line. This is going to be an improvement then for the German. And it is, but he stays in P5 at the moment. Getting a little bit closer to Alonso now as Hulkenberg. Vettel now then crossing the line. And he also improves, but stays in 6th place. So both EMRs improving on that lap. Lewis Hamilton crosses the line and goes fastest. So Lewis now gets back to the top. He beats Ricciardo. Hamilton fastest with a 1:31.263. So Hamilton going to the top. Palmer staying where he is in 22nd. Hartley moves up to 10th with that time. So Hartley gets himself into the top 10. Alonso starts his lap and hoping that Hartley in front doesn't hold him up. Felix Rosenqvist now then coming out of the final corner. And let's see what Rosenqvist can manage. And he improves but stays in 13th with that time as the track looks like it's starting to rubber in and get quicker. And Magnussen across the line. And he goes up to 14th for that time. So an improvement for the Dane. Here is Sam Bird now then in the shadow as he's now coming down the start straight. Bird crosses the line and goes up to 11th. So P11 for Sam Bird. Jake Dennis stays where he is at the moment, which is P17. Anybody else currently on a lap? It doesn't look like it. No, in fact there is. Fernando Alonso, who's 2 tenths down in the first sector there. And it looks like he's not going to be on for an improvement unless he can hook something up in this second sector. Of course, we know how quick the BMW is down the straight, judging for the last 3 seasons, of course. And it looks like they've maintained that for this season as Alonso just goes through the right-hander, and he's gained a lot of time in the second sector. He's now only 1/10 off his teammate in the second sector. So Alonso could be on for an improvement if he hooks up this last sector pretty well. Could even try and get above Grosjean if he can to make it a 1-3 for Etihad in this session, or even a 1-2-3 if you count Ricciardo because he's an Etihad employee. But Alonso now then up towards the final 2 corners now. Then we go, and let's see what Fernando Alonso can manage around the final corner. And onto the pit straight we go as Hartley in front just goes into the pits. Alonso crossing the line and he doesn't improve. Like Hartley held him up on that last sector and stays in 4th place for the minute. Does the defending champion as he will be coming back into the pits this lap. Anybody else on a lap? Doesn't appear like it. So at the moment, as we have just nearly gone half an hour in the session, just over half an hour to go in the session. Here is the leaderboard then. It's Hamilton at the top with Ricciardo 2nd, Grosjean 3rd, Alonso 4th, Hulkenberg in 5th, Vettel in 6th, De Vries in 7th, Norris in 8th, Schumacher 9th, Hartley 10th, Bird in 11th, Verline 12th, and then it is Vern 13th, Rosenqvist 14th, Magnussen 15th, Perez 16th, Dennis 17th, Vanio in 18th, Roland 19th, Fenestraz in 20th, Jones 21st, and Palmer in 22nd position. So that's currently what the leaderboard looks like in this session now then, as Alonso goes up towards the right-hander now. Then we go, and let's see what Alonso can do as well, throughout the remainder of the session he is coming back into the pits. And obviously Alonso, this will be his final day here today, of course, because Ricciardo and even Hamilton's as well, because Ricciardo and shadow driver Leclerc will be taking part for Etihad tomorrow. So yeah, Etihad using 2 of their test drivers tomorrow in tomorrow's session. So hoping to see if they can gather some data from their test drivers if they can, and I think it'll be a lot more trickier with Riccardo as well. Let's not forget, because of course he is an Etihad employee, but they're hoping not to share too much information with him, considering he's a GRM driver, and so far GRM looking quite impressive in this session so far as Norris comes towards the final corner. And let's see what Lando Norris can manage there as he's going down the pit straight. And Norris now then is about to start his lap as Lewis Hamilton, I believe that was. Yes, it is. The man that's currently at the top of this session just goes back out onto the track. As now Norris then just goes flat out through turns 1 and 2. And Norris now then up towards the next few corners on the track. And Sacha Fenestraz in the Mars Grand Prix car has also come out onto the track. As Norris now then just negotiating through these next section of corners. And let's see then what Norris can manage there as he goes down this long straight, and he's 1/10 down in the first sector now then as we ride on board with the young Brit Lando Norris as he goes up towards the right-hander now then. So let's see then what he can do on this lap now then as he'll now go up towards this corner. Flat out he goes now then, goes Lando Norris. And he's 1/10 down again in the second sector, gaining a lot more time on that straight now then. So if he can hook up a good last sector, he doesn't look like he's got any cars in front. Norris could be on for an improvement, but we'll wait and see on that as Norris negotiates through these next few corners then on the track. And that's that then really. And so through the final 2 corners as Brighton has just scored against Arsenal there, so Arsenal's losing again. It's just getting funnier now with Arsenal, isn't it? So now Norris then goes down the straight, and let's see what Lando can manage. This is going to be an improvement. It is, but he stays and goes up to 7th with that lap, so he gets back in front of De Vries. So up to 7th place goes Lando Norris as Pascal Wehrlein goes down the start straight. And he goes up to 10th, so Wehrlein gets himself back into the top 10. Daniel Ricciardo stays in 2nd. No improvement for the Aussie. As now we go through the next few corners as we view Oliver Rowland, who's currently down in 19th in the Eldorado. Out of the final corner and onto the start straight goes Ollie Rowland. And let's see what he can do. Across the line he goes, and he improves and goes up to 17th. So he's just behind teammate Perez now, so Rowland up to 17th place he goes. As we now look at Ed Jones, who's now down in 21st as a result of that improvement. Can he improve? He does, but only up to 20th to get in front of today's teammate, Sacha Fenestraz. Schumacher doesn't improve and stays in 9th place at the moment. Here is Romain Grosjean, currently in 3rd place at the moment in the Bud Light Line Motorsport car. Grosjean now then up towards the final 2 corners on the track he goes. And let's see what the Frenchman can manage. Around the final corner and onto the start straight goes the Frenchman. And Grosjean now then across the line. And he doesn't improve, stays in P3 for the moment. Eero Vainio crosses the line. And Vainio improves but stays in 19th place for the minute. Sergio Perez now then across the line. Is this an improvement? It's not. He stays 16th with that lap. Nick De Vries stays where he is at the moment as Vettel starts the lap. Looks like Vettel's going to get held up by De Vries. De Vries staying in P8. Verne stays in P13. Hamilton goes even quicker with a 1 minute 31.079. He's now 2/10 clear of Ricciardo. 1/10 better than his personal best. Hamilton improves with a 1 minute 31.079. Hamilton's showing some pace today. Fenestraz improves but stays in 2nd to last with that time. But a big improvement there for Lewis Hamilton, the man that's finished runner-up for the last 3 seasons now. 2 with Red Bull Audi and once with Etihad. And feeling that he hopes this season he can finally beat Alonso before he leaves. As Vettel is 2/10 down in the 2nd sector. You can definitely see why, because he's being held up by Nick De Vries' Martini car. Vettel pretty much losing his slipstream essentially to just drag him down the straight. And we know in the past the Mercedes engine has been down on power on the Ferrari in the past. Whether it is this season, we don't know. But so far, the 2 EMRs doing a good job compared to Friday, where both of them looked like they were just not pushing. It's very clear they're showing their pace today, with both of them in 5th and 6th at the moment. Vettel, 3/10 down. Looks like De Vries is holding him up a little bit more now then. So Vettel looking like he's not on for an improvement as he now negotiates through the left-hander now then. And De Vries holding him up an absolute treat at the moment. De Vries going back into the pits this lap as we have just over 25 minutes to go in this in day 2 here at Paul Ricard, as now the Crease will just flick himself back into the pits. Vettel looks like he's not on for improvement because De Vries has held him up quite a bit. Vettel across the line he goes, and no, he doesn't improve, stays in P6 with that time. As now then, let's see. As in fact, we'll wait for some more activity because nobody behind Vettel is also doing a lap. As Vettel now then just negotiates through these next section of corners. And so that's that. As now we got some track activity in the form of Jake Dennis, as he just negotiates through the first 2 corners, and looks like Hulkenberg is joined behind him as well on track. And so Hulkenberg now then out on track as he just negotiates through these next section of corners. And so through the right hand there we go, and Hulkenberg just negotiating through the left-hander and hoping he doesn't get held up by Dennis in front. Magnussen out on track for Suomi, as is Will Palmer. I say he said Will Power then, it's Will Palmer in the shadow. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to say that more often during the season now. I'm calling on it. Sam Bird out on track for Shadow, as is Felix Rosenqvist. He's out there as well, as is Brendan Hartley. Lando Norris going out on track in the Martini, as is Mick Schumacher for AMP. And Verline is also going to be going out. Alonso's just going out as well. We're expecting Ricciardo and Roland to also join these guys. Vettel going back into the pits this lap. As now we just go through the left-hander. Dennis now then comes up towards the final 2 corners as he prepares to start his next flying lap, as is Hulkenberg just behind him now then. In towards the final 2 corners then we go, and let's see what Jake Dennis can manage as we go down the start straight. As 2 more cars going out, I believe that was Roland and Verline that was just coming out, and Dennis hoping that guy right in front of him there, Roland doesn't hold him up, and sadly his fellow Monster colleague, even though he is an Eldorado employee, Roland will be driving for Monster this season, has just held him up, but Dennis making light work of him down the inside to make the pass on him there. Not willing to get held up there by Ollie Rowland, but it has compromised his entrance into this corner and probably compromised Hulkenberg as well, as now Hulkenberg's now being held up by Rowland. So now through the left-hander, and just to see, 1.2 seconds off in the first sector, shows how much Rowland there impeded Dennis's flying lap. So now look at this, Rowland looking like he's trying to get back past him there, so we've got a little bit of a battle down this long straight. Roland trying to get back through on Jake Dennis, as now we negotiate through towards the right-hander. Roland trying to get alongside him if he can, which he doesn't do. Dennis stays there, and Verline was trying to find a way through on Hulkenberg there, so Hulkenberg and Dennis having their laps ruined by Roland and Verline respectively there, as 4 cars pretty much grouped together now then in this section. And so that's pretty much that then really, as they all now negotiate through the final few corners on the track. And let's see what Dennis can manage as he goes up towards the final 2 corners. And so up towards the final corner then goes Jake Dennis as he now comes down the pit straight. And across the line we go. Dennis now then, let's see what he can do. He doesn't improve and he stays in 18th place for the minute. Roland starts his lap and it looks like he's going to get impeded. Hulkenberg doesn't improve and stays 5th. Verline looking like he's getting impeded as he starts his lap. Magnussen doesn't improve, stays 15th with that time. Here comes Will Palmer. He's going to cross the line. I think I nearly said Power again. He improves but stays in last. He's only 1.320 off now, off Lewis Hamilton. Here's Sam Bird in the other shadow car. Let's see what Sam can manage as he crosses the line, doesn't improve and stays in 12th for the minute. Here comes Felix Rosenqvist now then, a fellow Formula E racer to Sam Bird. Rosenqvist crosses the line and he improves but stays in 13th place that time. Here comes Brandon Hartley. Out of the final corner goes the Kiwi. Hartley currently in 11th, just outside the top 10. What can he do with this lap? Doesn't improve, stays in 11th with that time. Lando Norris going down the pit straight. See what Lando can manage, and he doesn't improve, stays in P7 for the minute. Schumacher staying in 9th at the moment. Here is Fernando Alonso in the Etihad. see what he can do as he's currently in 4th place. Alonso is going to cross the line. And does he improve? Nope, stays in 4th place for the minute. As Perez is about to start up. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo in the GRM. And Ricciardo is going to cross the line. And can he get close to the time? Nope, stays in 2nd place for the minute. As we look at Ollie Rowland, who's still stuck behind Jake Dennis for the minute. As now we go through the next few corners. And I doubt that Rowland and Verline are going to improve from their 10th and 17th places respectively. So we now head down the long straight. Rowland crosses the line and of course doesn't improve, stays 17. Same for Verline, he stays in P number 10. And so those guys have completed laps in terms of this group of cars. No, in fact, Perez is on a lap and he's 4/10 down in the first sector there. So Perez off the pace in the first sector. Something seriously is not right in that Eldorado during this weekend so far. Unless they're not pushing during this test, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see really, as now Perez goes up towards the next few corners on the track and going as flat as possible. 3/10 down in the 2nd sector, so he's gained a lot of time back in the 2nd sector there. So Perez might be on for an improvement. We'll have to wait and see how he hooks up this last sector. He's got no traffic in front, so let's see how Perez does then on this lap. Perez now then up towards the final 2 corners, then goes the Mexican driver. Through the final 2 corners goes Perez. Let's see what Checo can manage then on this lap, and the pink helmet he's got on. And Perez now then going across the line, and he improves and goes up, but stays in, well, in fact goes up to 14th I should say, so still not in the top 10 is Sergio Perez, as he only goes up to 14th there with that time. As Ed Jones in the Mars Grand Prix car has just gone out onto the track. Jones currently in 20th place at the minute, as we have just over 18 minutes to go now then for day 2 here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, and here in France, and obviously it will be around the Formula 1 World Championship this season, with the chicane of course, not without one like we've got here. So that's that really. As Jones now then goes flat through the right-hander, and he'll just be preparing to start his next flying lap now then, as we now go up towards the left-hander. Jones preparing his next lap, and so that's that then really. Sorry about that, as Jones starts his lap, but it looks like it's going to get impeded because Hamilton has just come out onto the track, and it looked like he had to avoid Hartley there, did Ed Jones, and looks like this lap's now going to get impeded by the Amaretti driver, as he's now being held up by the Amaretti team known as Etihad Racing. So we have an Etihad driver in the field and an Amaretti driver in the field and an Amaretti team in the field now then. It's just a thing that they're not in the same team, of course, but that's that really. So Jones now then heading down the long straight now then, as Jones goes up towards the right-hander and looking to see if he can try and improve. Hamilton's getting away from him for a bit, so Jones can try and get some breathing space if he can, and hopefully try and recover on this lap. But let's see what his second sector entails. He's 5/10 down in the second sector. We'll see what his last sector is like, and see if he is going to be on for an improvement, but we'll wait and see. Going as fast as possible. It is quite a high speed track, Paul Ricard is, and so it's got a mixture of everything. Top speed, good top end speed really, and also a good mix of fast corners as well, which will be good for the downforce, and also some slow corners as well, specifically at the first sector. So it's got a combination of everything, especially at that last corner as well, which is pretty slow. Jones crosses the line, doesn't improve, and stays in 20th as Brendan Hartley starts a lap. I don't know if he's going to get held up by Jones there. Grosjean crosses the line and stays in 3rd. No improvement for the Frenchman as Vettel and Hulkenberg prepared to start a lap. Again, the EMRs coming out together. Magnussen and Palmer starting laps. Here is Sacha Fenestraz in the Mars Grand Prix car. The Frenchman now then heading towards the final 2 corners then. Let's see where Fenestraz can go now then. Around the final corner and onto the start straight goes Fenestraz. And he's now going to cross the line. And is it an improvement? Nope, stays 21st with that time. Rosenquist about to start his lap. Here is Nick de Vries in the Martini. And let's see what de Vries can manage as he goes up towards the final 2 corners on the track. And de Vries now then around the final corner and onto the start straight we go. And de Vries is going to cross the line and he doesn't improve, stays in P8 with that lap. Here is Jean-Eric Verne through the final 2 corners. He goes now then on this lap. Around he goes, and Verne, let's see what he can manage then on this lap. And Verne now then, let's see, he improves but stays in 15th place. Vainio stays in 19th. Jake Dennis now then heading down the pit straight to start his next flying lap. Here is Lewis Hamilton, currently fastest at the moment with a 1 minute 31.079 to be 2 tenths clear of Daniel Ricciardo. Hamilton now then up towards the final corner. And let's see what Lewis Hamilton can achieve as he goes down the start straight. Hamilton across the line, doesn't improve, stays on 1 minute 31.079, which is so far still the fastest time today. Hartley stays in 11th with that lap. Here is Sebastian Vettel in the EMR. Let's see what Vettel can manage. He's going to cross the line. And Vettel, let's see what he can do. He doesn't improve. What about his teammate behind him? He doesn't improve, so both of them stay in 5th and 6th respectively. As we look at Kevin Magnussen and the Suomi, and he doesn't improve and stays in P16 with the lap. Here is Will Palmer coming out of the final corner and onto the start straight. Will Palmer crosses the line, and this is going to be an improvement. No, stays 22nd with that lap. As we now look at Felix Rosenquist as he goes down the pit straight, and Rosenquist stays where he is, which is P number 13 at the moment. So Rosenquist currently 13th at the minute. Here is Jake Dennis in the Shadow. Sorry, not Shadow. Wrong Mercedes power car. Monster. In the Monster now then. So let's see what Jake Dennis can do. Currently Dennis is in 18th at the minute and will be competing again in GP3 with Status Monster once again, partnering alongside new teammate Jihan Deravala. And so let's see what Dennis can manage then. And up towards the final corner then goes Jake Dennis, and let's see what he can do on this lap. Dennis crosses the line and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 18. And let's see if anybody else is on the lap. Doesn't appear like it. So at the moment, as we are entering the closing stages of this testing, we have just over 13 minutes to go. Here is what the session currently looks like. At the moment, we're 6 minutes away from the 2 o'clock mark. Lewis Hamilton is currently at the top with Daniel Ricciardo in 2nd. Romain Grosjean is in 3rd with Fernando Alonso in 4th. Nico Hülkenberg 5th. Sebastian Vettel 6th. Lando Norris 7th. Nick de Vries in 8th. Mick Schumacher 9th. Pascal Wehrlein 10th. Brendan Hartley in 11th. Sam Bird in 12th with Felix Rosenquist 13th. Sergio Perez 14th. Jean-Eric Verne 15th with Kevin Magnussen 16th. Oliver Rowland 17th. Jake Dennis 18th. Aero Vainio in 19th. Ed Jones 20th. Sacha Fenestraz in 21st. And Will Palmer in 22nd position. So that's how the leaderboard currently stands at this stage, as now we head towards the right-hander. Excuse me. As now we go up towards the next section of corners. And let's see what Jake Dennis can manage. Well, in fact, no, he's actually coming back into the pit. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I think there's some more cars now out on track. Yes, defending champion Fernando Alonso is back out onto the track. Currently in 4th place at the moment, as we had a little bit of a drop of frames there. But not too many. Only 41 frames we dropped there, which is not bad compared to the other day where we were just losing frames left, right and centre towards the end of the session. And so Fernando Alonso now then going up towards the left-hander, and as he prepares to start his next flying lap. Also on the track we have Sam Bird in the Shadow, nicknamed the Etihad B team, and you can definitely tell that with their colour scheme this season as well, opting to use the same colours as what the Etihads use. As Lando Norris is out on track, as is Oliver Rowland, Mick Schumacher, Romain Grosjean, Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, Ed Jones, Pascal Wehrlein are all out there doing laps, and luckily for Alonso, nobody came out of the pits there to do laps. There are a few other cars in the pits. I think one of them was Aerovania that was in the pits as well, along with, I believe, an AMP car. But yeah, that was that really, as we now negotiate through the double right-hander. Alonso at the moment currently 4th, hoping to see if he can try and get that Etihad up to 2nd to make it a Etihad 1-2 or even beat Lewis. But he's 2 tenths down there in the first sector. And but we know he's able to hook it up. The Etihads are able to hook it up quite well in the second sector, considering it's a back straight, of course, and we know that straight line speed is something that the Etihad has been good at in the past, and which is one of the things why they've won the last 3 championships: season 1, season 2, and season 3. All 3 of them courtesy of Fernando Alonso. Alonso now they're through the right hander. See what his second sector is like. Still 2 tenths down, but gained a lot more time in the second sector. Whether he's able to continue that into the last sector now, which involves corners, we'll see. So far, Alonso 4 tenths down in overall behind Lewis Hamilton, as we have just over 10 minutes to go now then for day 2 here at Paul Ricard, as now Alonso negotiates through the final 2 corners, and let's see what the Spaniard can manage through the final corner. And onto the start straight then goes the Spaniard, and Alonso is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve and stays in P4 for the minute. And here comes Sam Bird now then through the next few corners on the track. And let's see what Bird can manage then as he heads down the start straight. I don't know if Vania in front is holding him up, but Bird crosses the line, doesn't improve and stays in 12th place. Lando Norris now then stays in 7th as Jean-Eric Vergne prepares to start his lap, as does Nick de Vries. We now look at Oliver Rowland in the Eldorado, and let's see what Rowland can manage as he just negotiates through these next section of corners. And let's see what Rowland can manage, and see what Rowland can do. Up towards the final corner then goes Ollie, as we now look at Rowland now as he goes down the start straight, and he improves and goes up to 11th. So Rowland just outside the top 10. So moving up into 11th goes Oliver Rowland. Mick Schumacher doesn't improve as Fenestraz behind Rowland just started the lap. Romain Grosjean stays in 3rd place for the minute. Sergio Perez, is this going to be an improvement for the Mexican? Nope, stays in 15th place as Ricciardo doesn't improve and stays in 2nd. Looked like he got held up a bit there by Perez, as looked like both of them came out on the track at the same time, both using the same engine. So it's easy to understand why they'd keep up with each other. Jones doesn't improve and stays in 20th for that time there. So Pascal Wehrlein coming out of the final corner as we have just over 8 minutes to go. Wehrlein stays in 10th. He's just on the cusp of the top 10 at the moment as Alonso goes back into the pits. Here comes Aerovania then in the Suomi, going around these section of corners now then, as Bird will be going back into the pits, the guy that's currently behind him at the moment. And that's that then really. And Vanio just going around these next section of corners as it's 2-0 now to Brighton ahead of Arsenal. It's just becoming a joke now for Arsenal as Vanio crosses the line and improves to go up into 18th. So he gets in front of Dennis with that time. So going into 18th there goes Aerovania, and here comes Jean-Eric Vergne in the GRM, and let's see what the current Formula E Championship leader in real life can do. He doesn't improve and stays in 16th place. And Nick de Vries, let's see what the Martini can do. De Vries crosses the line and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P8, just behind teammate Lando Norris. As Sacha Fenestraz now then just goes out of the final corner, and let's see what Sacha can manage. And Sacha crosses the line and stays in 21st, just behind teammate Ed Jones. And so let's see. There were people behind. I don't know if they were doing laps. Didn't look like they were just coming back into the pits. So that's that then really. Just over 7 minutes to go. We're getting towards the end of day 2 here at Paul Ricard. And so far, Etihad get themselves back to the top in this session. So far in this session, with Hamilton being 2 tenths clear of Daniel Ricciardo in this session. So Fenestraz just goes out of that left-hander. And so Fenestraz now then heading down the straight he goes. And let's see now then. Let's have a look then as we head towards just under 7 minutes to go. Let's have a look then at the leaderboard then. We'll have a final reminder before we actually reveal the full results towards the end. Lewis Hamilton currently at the top with Daniel Ricciardo second, Romain Grosjean third, Fernando Alonso fourth, Nico Hülkenberg in fifth, with Sebastian Vettel in sixth, Lando Norris in seventh, with Nick de Vries in eighth, Mick Schumacher ninth, Pascal Wehrlein in 10th, Oliver Rowland in 11th, with Brendan Hartley 12th, Sam Bird 13th, Felix Rosenqvist 14th, Sergio Perez 15th, Jean-Eric Vergne 16th, Kevin Magnussen 17th, with Eero Venio in 18th, Jake Dennis 19th, Ed Jones in 20th, Sacha Fenestras 21st, and Will Palmer in 22nd position. So that's that, as Sacha will be going into the pits. As Lewis Hamilton, the man coming at the top, is out on track, probably to just finish off maybe some final few laps, just to gather data for Etihad Racing. He just negotiates through the right-hander now then, and Lewis Hamilton just going out the corner now then and up towards the next corner on the track, and using as much of the curb as possible does Lewis Hamilton. As we now go up towards the final two corners on the track, then goes Lewis Hamilton, and as he prepares to start his next flying lap. As Will Palmer is also out there as well for shadow, as is Sebastian Vettel. He's hoping that Will Palmer doesn't hold him up on his next flying lap. Felix Rosenqvist out on track, as is Jake Dennis. Kevin Magnussen out there as well, as is Nico Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso, Brendan Hartley, Lando Norris, Oliver Rowland, Sam Bird, and I believe that's that, unless there's some more in the pitch. Yes, Pascal Wehrlein and Daniel Ricciardo are expected to come out onto the track quite soon, as Lewis Hamilton now then negotiates through the section of corners, and now just negotiating through the right-hander now then, and let's see what Lewis Hamilton can manage. And he's 1/10 down off his personal best in the first sector, and whether he can hook it up in the second sector, we'll have to wait and see. As we have just under 5 minutes now remaining in the session, we've just passed the 2 o'clock mark, and we're just getting towards the end of day 2 here at Paul Ricard. Lewis Hamilton currently at the top. Whether somebody can actually put in a great lap and actually beat him towards the end, we don't know. And 5 minutes to go. Ricciardo's going back out, as is Alonso, so anything could happen. Hamilton again 1/10 down in the second sector. I don't know if he gained a little bit or dropped a little bit of time there in the second sector, but Lewis now then going up towards the final few corners on the track, and let's see what Lewis can manage. Up towards the final 2 corners then goes the Brit, and Lewis Hamilton then up towards the final corner then he goes, and let's see what the time is going to be then for the Etihad, as he's now crossing the line, and he doesn't improve, stays on a 1:31.079, as Will Palmer is currently holding up Sebastian Vettel. So it looks like Vettel's lap's been compromised by Will. Palmer crosses the line, and he improves but stays 22nd. Vettel doesn't improve and stays in 6th. Here's Felix Rosenqvist now then, going up towards the final 2 corners then, and let's see what the Swede can manage. Through the final 2 corners he goes then, and up towards the final corner goes Felix. And let's see what Rosenqvist can manage as he heads down the pit straight, and Rosenqvist crosses the line, and he doesn't improve and stays in 14th for that lap. Here comes Jake Dennis in the Monster. Across the line he goes, and he doesn't improve. Kevin Magnussen stays where he is, which is P17. Dennis staying in P19. Nico Hülkenberg in the EMR. What can he post with this time? Hülkenberg crossing the line, and he stays in 5th place. Alonso doesn't improve, stays in 4th. Ricciardo starting the lap, and it looks like he might get a little bit held up by Alonso. Maybe even Hartley if he tries to pressure him down. Hartley, meantime, didn't improve and stays in P12, just behind Oliver Rowland. Is now Wehrlein prepared to start his next final lap. We now view Lando Norris in the Martini. Up towards the final 2 corners then goes the Brit. And so through he goes now then, around the final corner. And onto the start straight we go. And Norris now then across the line. And he doesn't improve and stays in 7th place. Oliver Rowland stays in 11th, as here comes Sam Bird in the shadow. And does he improve? No, he can't. He stays in P13 with that time, as Hamilton goes back into the pit, as will Palmer and Vettel and Rosenqvist. I think there was somebody else on the lap that we came across. Yes, Ricciardo and Ricciardo was on the lap, but I don't know if he's being held up a bit there by Fernando Alonso in front, the man he will replace next season at Etihad when Alonso jets off to IndyCar. So through the right-hander we go, and he's 3/10 down in the second sector. Just over 2 minutes now remaining in this session now then, here on day 2 here at Paul Ricard. As Riccardo now then negotiates through the next section, the corners. And let's see if Alonso has impeded his time a little bit in this. As you can see, Riccardo now then up towards the final two corners as Rosenquist gets the checkered flag next to his name. So Rosenquist's session has come to an end, as has Jake Dennis. He's also got the checkered flag next to his name. Daniel Ricciardo just coming out after the final corner. Alonso just peels into the pits along with Vettel. You can just see there on the right hand side. I believe it's Vettel anyway. It could be Hulkenberg, I'm not sure. Ricciardo doesn't improve and stays in second, and that will be it for him because he won't have enough time to get back around. We're only just under 1.5 minutes left in the session. Pascal Wehrlein up towards the final corner he goes, and let's see what the German can manage. And Pascal Wehrlein is now going to cross the line, and he stays in 10th at the present moment. And let's see then what... Let's have a look then. So, as you can see, Ricciardo will be coming back into the pit. Alonso and Vettel now get checkered flags next to his name, as does Ollie Rowland. So those guys get checkered flags next to their name, as does Sam Bird now then. So a lot of guys now getting checkered flags next to their names. And I think that will be that then, really. Apart from that, a few guys... In fact, because we know how X-Patch works, they'll allow them to do one more lap after the timer goes off, as we have just under 40 seconds left in the session. And a few guys with checkered flags next to their names on the TV graphic on the left. And so now Wehrlein going up towards the right-hander as he will prepare to go back into the pits to finish off his session. Well, his session's come to a close. It looks like both AMPs are in the top 10, 9th and 10th respectively. Schumacher 9th and Wehrlein in 10th. Schumacher looking like he's doing one more lap, in fact, because we know, like I said, how X-Patch works with these things. And it looks like three guys are doing times then, doing one more lap. That being Mick Schumacher, Ed Jones and Sergio Perez in the Eldorado. Perez hoping to see if he can get himself into the top 10 as he's got some clear track in front. Schumacher preparing to start his next flying lap now then. As Schumacher just goes out the corner now then and up towards the left-hander. Through the left-hander then goes Schumacher, as now he negotiates up towards the final two corners. And let's see what Schumacher can do now then. Up towards the final corner and onto the start straight we go. And Schumacher now then starting his final flying lap, which he does. There's the checkered flag. The session has come to a close. And Jones and Perez will be soon starting theirs as Schumacher goes flat out through the first two corners then. So Ricciardo now gets checkered flag next to his name, as does Lando. These are the guys that have got checkered flags next to their names. I'll just read them out. Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, Norris, Wehrlein, Rowland, Bird, Rosenquist and Dennis. And I presume the guys with P next to their name, which stands for pits, have also finished their sessions off as well, but probably haven't completed the amount of laps that they're allowed in the practice session, because that's how Grand Prix 3 works. As Schumacher is 6/10 down in the first sector. So unless he can pull something off in the second sector, I don't think the young German is looking at an improvement now then. So Schumacher now then up towards the right-hander. And let's see what Schumacher can do. Around he goes now then, as the sparks come off the back of his car now then. Up towards the right-hander goes the young German. And so Schumacher now then through the corners he goes, as he will finish off his lap. Through he goes now then, around the corner and up towards the final two corners then goes Mick Schumacher. And let's see what Mick can manage. Up towards the final corner then goes the young German. And Schumacher now then crosses the line. And what is it going to be? He doesn't improve and stays in 9th. As we now look at Ed Jones, who's coming up towards the final few corners then we go. And let's see what the Emiretti driver can do. Through the final two corners then goes Ed Jones. Around the final corner and onto the start straight goes the Emiretti driver. Jones now then across the line, and he doesn't improve and stays where he is. Does Ed Jones, as Sergio Perez now then heading down the straight himself is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve and stays in 15th. Jones remaining in 20th. And there you have it. They are all the guys that have finished down. And that is the end of day 2 here at Paul Ricard then. So, here is the results then after day 2. Lewis Hamilton finished fastest with Daniel Ricciardo in 2nd. Romain Grosjean finished in 3rd with Fernando Alonso in 4th. And then it was Nico Hülkenberg 5th, Sebastian Vettel in 6th, Lando Norris 7th, Nick de Vries in 8th, Mick Schumacher 9th, Pascal Wehrlein 10th, Oliver Rowland in 11th, with Brendan Hartley 12th, Sam Bird 13th, Felix Rosenqvist 14th, Sergio Perez 15th, Jean Verne 16th, Kevin Magnussen 17th, Eero Vanier in 18th, with Jay Dennis 19th, Ed Jones 20th, Sacha Fenestraz in 21st, and Will Palmer in 22nd position. So we'll wait for Perez to come back into the pits. We'll then go to the main menu. We'll remind you of what the results were, and we'll end this live stream there as Perez just goes around the right-hander and probably just pushing hard on this in lap then, just to get some data for the team. And I guess that's what Jones and Schumacher are also doing for their respective teams. That's been Mars Grand Prix and AMP Racing. Sergio, of course, driving for Eldorado Racing, as now he approaches towards the final 2 corners then. And Perez will peel to the right once he comes out of this final corner, which he does. So there you are. And there it says there, you just saw a glimpse of it, free practice over. So let me just get this photo up. You'll just see it briefly there, which you do. But there you have it then, guys. Let's come back to the main menu. That is it for day 2 here at Paul Ricard. A reminder then of the leaderboard. It was Hamilton fastest with Ricciardo 2nd, Grosjean 3rd, Alonso 4th, Hülkenberg 5th, Vettel 6th, Norris 7th, de Vries in 8th, Schumacher 9th, Wehrlein 10th, Roland 11th, Hartley 12th, Bird 13th, Rosenqvist 14th, Perez 15th, Verne 16th, Magnussen 17th, Vanier 18th, Dennis 19th, Jones 20th, Fenestraz 21st, and Palmer in 22nd position. So there you have it then, guys. That has been the end of day 2 here at Paul Ricard. A very interesting session with the Etihad back at the top of the timing sheets, with Hamilton 2/10 clear of Ricciardo. And yeah, Hamilton showing some good place in his final day here at Paul Ricard, because of course 2 of Etihad's test drivers are taking the roles for the remaining 2 days. But anyway, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been a thoroughly entertaining session. And that's that then, really. So, as Arsenal score a goal. But anyway, that is it for day 2. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow for day 3 here at Paul Ricard at a later time of 6 PM GMT. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I apologise for not being on yesterday. It was due to internet issues with Virgin Media. And I have thanked them for the issues. But anyway, I'm guessing they saw my rant and they just fixed it straight away. So anyway, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Whatever they were doing behind the scenes, of course, at Virgin. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this session then, guys. Thank you for the people who were patient yesterday with the troubles I was having. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 3 here at Paul Ricard at 6 PM GMT. Until then, take care.